This seems incredibly damaging when we try to evaluate past decisions, like in business or medicine.
It's incredibly pernicious, as the source calls it. Hindsight bias makes it almost impossible to fairly evaluate the quality of a decision based on the process and information available at the time. We inevitably judge decisions by their outcomes.
Like the surgeon example.
Right. A surgeon performed an operation with a known low statistical risk, but an unpredictable, rare complication occurs, and the patient has a bad outcome. In hindsight, it's incredibly difficult for observers, a jury, review board, even other doctors, to avoid feeling that a surgeon should have known, or that the operation was obviously too risky. The bad outcome contaminates the perception of the original decision, making prior uncertainty invisible. We judge the decision by the outcome, not the process.
And this fits right into the illusion of skill, believing we're good at predicting things, even when luck plays a huge role.
It's a powerful illusion, especially in fields where there is some element of skill, but chance dominates the outcome. Stock picking is a classic example.
Investors do real analysis, right? Use skill.
They do. They analyze financials, management, trends. They apply genuine expertise and effort. But decades of research show that consistently beating market averages over the long run is incredibly difficult. Maybe impossible for most, because raw market movements, economic shifts, and pure random luck play such a dominant role. The correlation between the skill applied and the actual outcome is often quite low in domains like active stock management.
But it feels like the analysis should lead to better results.
Exactly. The subjective experience of doing the research, making thoughtful judgments, creates a powerful feeling of skill and predictability. The illusion of validity we talked about earlier, even when the objective track record doesn't support it.
We see this with explaining company success here. We love stories of genius CEOs.
We crave those simple causal narratives. Books like Built to Last or In Search of Excellence become bestsellers because they identify supposedly successful companies and attribute their success to specific practices or visionary leadership. It makes success seem like a formula you can follow.
But reality is messier.
Much messier. When researchers track the performance of those excellent companies over the following years, they often find their performance regresses towards the average. Luck, industry trends, changing market factors largely outside management control play a massive role. The actual correlation between specific management practices and long-term company success might be surprisingly low, maybe only around 0.30 as one hypothetical suggests. But System 1 wants a clear story of cause and effect. We prefer the narrative of skill over the reality of luck. It's hard to accept, as the source notes, just how much randomness drives success and failure.
Speaking of randoms, let's tackle regression to the mean. This seems like a concept our intuition really struggles with.
It's a major blind spot for System 1. Regression to the mean is simply a statistical fact. When two variables are imperfectly correlated, meaning they're related but not perfectly, extreme values on one variable tend to be associated with less extreme values on the other.
So extreme performance is often followed by less extreme performance.
On average, yes. Think about it. Extremely good performance often involves not just skill, but also a healthy dose of good luck. And luck, by its nature, tends not to persist. So, the next time the performance is likely to be closer to the person's true average level, it regresses towards the mean.
The example of the flight instructor is perfect for illustrating the confusion this causes.
It's a brilliant story from source. An instructor teaching pilot landing maneuvers noticed something. When a cadet executed an exceptionally smooth landing, likely skill plus good luck, he would praise cadet. Almost invariably, the cadet's next landing would be worse.
So he included praise was bad.
He did. He thought praise made them complacent or nervous. Conversely, the cadet made a really bad landing, scale plus bad luck, he would yell at them, and typically their next landing would be better.
So punishment worked.
That was his conclusion. But he was completely misinterpreting regression to the mean. The unusual good landing was likely to be followed by a more average one, regardless of praise, simply because the good luck faded. The unusually bad landing was likely to be followed by a better, more average one, regardless of the punishment, because the bad luck passed. He was attaching a causal story, praise is bad, punishment is good, to were just normal statistical fluctuations on an average.
So if my favorite sports team has an amazing game, way above their usual level,
you'd predict their next game will likely close to their average performance, not another amazing outlier. Regression predicts a return towards normalcy. And importantly, it works both ways. If you looked at the teams with the best performance in week 2, you'd find that, on average, their performance in week 1 was less extreme, closer to the average.
Seeing it work backwards helps show it's not about cause and effect, just statistics.
Exactly. It's a statistical relationship, not a force. But our System 1 desperately wants causal explanations.
And our intuitive predictions ignore this regression.
Completely. Intuitive predictions, driven by System 1's intensity matching, tend to be non-regressive. We see extreme evidence, like Julie's amazing early reading score, and we make an equally extreme prediction, amazing college GPA. System 1 doesn't automatically adjust that prediction downward towards the average college GPA, which is what a statistically sound regressive prediction would do.
So predicting extremes often leads to disappointment.
Highly likely, because the outcome will probably be less extreme than your prediction. Predicting very poor outcomes from weak negative evidence might lead to pleasant surprises for the same reason. Truly unbiased predictions are more moderate. They rarely predict rare or extreme events with high confidence because the evidence is rarely strong enough to statistically justify it. It feels less exciting maybe, but it's more accurate.
Yet even knowing all this intellectually, we can still feel incredibly confident about a specific prediction, right? Even if we know our track record is poor.
That's the stubborn illusion of validity again. It's that subjective feeling of certainty you get about a particular case, even when, objectively, that your predictions in that general area aren't very reliable.
Like the Miller-Lyer lines. They're equal, but one still looks longer.
It's a perfect analogy. The authors mention their own experience evaluating candidates for the Israeli army. They knew statistically their predictions were poor. But in each individual interview, the feeling of confidence, the certainty that this candidate was going to be a star or that one was unsuitable was overwhelming. The compelling, coherent story System 1 builds about the individual case feels utterly convincing in the moment, overriding the abstract statistical knowledge held by System 2.
Okay. So our intuition is great at pattern recognition in familiar situations, but in complex, unpredictable ones, it's prone to all these biases, overconfidence, ignoring stats. When can we actually trust our gut feelings, our expert intuition?
That's the crucial question. Genuine expert intuition isn't some kind of magic. It's essentially highly developed pattern recognition, what Gary Klein calls recognition primed decision making. But it only develops under specific conditions.
What conditions?
Two main things are needed. First, the environment itself must be sufficiently regular and predictable so that there actually are patterns to be learned. Chess is a good example. The rules are fixed, patterns repeat. Second, the expert needs the opportunity for prolonged practice with immediate, clear feedback on their judgments in that environment. Thousands of